everyone, it's Taylor here. Today I'm going to share with you how I created this cute trifold card with cut-in square windows in our unique mini slim size. We have everything you need for quick and easy alignment. It all starts with our pre-scored trifold card bases. They come in sugar cube and toffee. I'll be using the sugar cube. I also have the mini slim trifold template and dies. This is the product that's going to help us perfectly align the squares onto the trifold card base and cut them so that they line up just perfectly when you fold that trifold together. I'll also be using a mini slim stencil called On the Dot and a few different stamp sets. I have party streamers and If Balloons Could Talk stamp and die combo. I'll be coloring the images with Copic markers, using several different colors of ink, Oreo for the image stamping, and then blue raspberry, jelly donut, and Lollipop along with my blender brushes for the stencil pattern. I'm going to start by folding the trifold card base on the pre-scored lines so that I have 3 different panels to work on. Then I'm going to grab those stencil templates and place the larger square on the front fold of the trifold. I'm lining it up so that it perfectly fits, and then I'm centering the largest square die inside the opening in the stencil. This ensures that the largest square is perfectly centered on the front flap of the trifold. And now we need to take the smaller square template and line it up with the back flap of the trifold, making sure that it's lined up with the score line on the side and then centering the die in the middle of the opening. When you close that, you have one last chance to adjust that die cut if anything isn't perfectly centered, and then send it through your die cut machine, and you should have 2 windows that perfectly overlap and create an opening in your trifold card base. If you have trouble folding your card base together, after you've cut the windows, you may want to cut a 1/16 of an inch off of the flap with the smaller window in order to allow your card base to close more easily. Now I'm taking the On the Dot stencil and I'm going to blend the pattern over the front flap of the card. I've placed some purple tape down so the color doesn't get on the back panel of my card. And where those 2 colors are overlapping, the Lollipop and the blue raspberry, creates a pretty purple color. So I can remove that purple tape and now I have a pattern on the front of my project. I want to create a frame for that inside square, so I'm nesting the 2 squares together that we used to create those openings in order to create a frame that will sit behind the front flap of my card. So I'm adhering that piece around the smaller square, and then you can see the contrast that it creates between the card base and the different colored frame. Next, I'm going to stamp the inside of my project with the Party Streamers stamp set. I've opened it up and added that purple tape so the party streamers don't stamp onto the other panel of my card. I'm going to be using blue raspberry, Lollipop, and jelly donut inks, using that window off to the left to make sure that I'm aligning the party streamers where I will be able to see them when my card closes. This is being stamped onto the back center panel of the card base. And once I do that, I can take that out of the MISTI and just make sure I can see those party streamers where I want, and then I can remove the purple tape and move on to the next step. Next, I'm going to be stamping the images from If Balloons Could Talk using Oreo ink. The images in this set can be left plain, or there are 6 different faces that can be stamped within each balloon to make them more animated. I do cut these images apart. They come all together as one, but I've decided which faces I wanted to use and I cut them apart and stamped them with an acrylic block. Next, I'm going to be coloring the images with a few different Copic markers to match the colors that I used on the ink blending. I use my typical light to dark blend, starting with the lighter color and then using the darker color to shade, coming back with the lighter color to blend the 2 together. Once the coloring is finished, I'll grab the coordinating dies and send those through the die cut machine to cut them out. Now I can adhere my balloons to my card project. I've chosen to adhere one to the front and one to an inside flap, making sure I only add my adhesive to the areas that are going to adhere to each individual panel of the trifold. I'm going to finish off the card by stamping a few different sentiments. I have It's Your Birthday for the front panel of the card. I did ink and stamp this a few times with the Oreo ink to give it a nice crisp black over the top of that polka dot pattern. Now I'm going to stamp Let's Get Carried Away on the front center panel right underneath where the window would fall. So I'm stamping that again with the Oreo ink, and when you read the card it will say It's Your Birthday, Let's Get Carried Away. I hope you enjoyed creating this Trifold mini slim card with me. You can find all of these products at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com.